Welcome back. A father's fight to find a treatment for his children's rare disease turned him into a global biotech company CEO focused on developing advanced therapies to treat a range of devastating illnesses. Joining us right now exclusively is the CEO of Amicus Therapeutics, John Crowley. John, it's good to have you on the program. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Maria.
I want to start with the news. The company just released the results for treating a rare skin disorder commonly known as EB. This clinical study did not meet the main goals, and Amicus Therapeutics will discontinue the development of the therapy. Tell us what happened.
Sure. So at Amicus Therapeutics, we are building a global biotechnology company focused on developing medicines for devastating genetic disorders. We have a number of products, one approved in Europe. We have others in the pipeline. This was one product for just a devastating rare disease, as you said, called EB. You may have heard these children referred to as butterfly children. Their skin is so fragile. Imagine living with a rare disease where your skin literally will fall off, develop open wounds, sores, just devastating. So we had acquired a company, developed a medicine, and it didn't meet its primary goals in its phase 3.
So now that this failed in this phase 3, this late stage trial, you just put your resources somewhere else, you just stop, or you come up with a new trial down the road?
So for that particular program, we're going to share the results with investigators, with regulators, with, very importantly, the patient community. We didn't have a commitment necessarily to this medicine. We had a commitment to the patient community. So with that program, we don't intend to invest in commercial activities to launch it. We don't intend to invest in additional clinical studies, but we are investing substantially in our pipeline. And in many respects, Amicus has never been in a better position despite this setback in this devastating disorder. I can tell you, Maria, looking at this disease, how devastating it is, it fits so well with the Amicus mission. It was based on some early, very strong science. We had the FDA very excited about the program as well. We were granted what's known as a breakthrough therapy designation. But the study failed. You're right. It didn't meet its primary endpoints.
John, tell us how you arrived here. I mean, back in February, President Trump praised you and your daughter, Megan, during his first address to a joint session of Congress. The commander-in-chief also weighed in on the FDA approval process. Listen to this.
Megan's story is about the unbounded power of a father's love for a daughter. But our slow and burdensome approval process at the Food and Drug Administration keeps too many advances, like the one that saved Megan's life, from reaching those in need. If we slash the restraints, not just at the FDA, but across our government, then we will be blessed with far more miracles just like Megan.
I want to ask you about the FDA approval process, but first tell us how you arrived here, Megan's story.
Maria, we came into this whole business 20 years ago when our two youngest children, Megan and Patrick, Megan was then 15 months old, Patrick only 7 days old, and they were diagnosed with a rare fatal form of muscular dystrophy known as Pompe disease. My wife Eileen and I went very quickly through the range of emotions, eventually settled on determination, finally starting a small biotech company that helped to develop a medicine. That treatment saved the kids' lives. It's now marketed by Genzyme. 12 years ago, though, we realized that we wanted to be in this business for life. And that became my career, my passion, and a passion we wanted to translate into making medicines for these devastating diseases, including Pompe and others. So 12 years ago, a handful of us in a cubicle on Route 1 in New Jersey started a small little company called Amicus Therapeutics. That company today has now grown into a company with more than 400 employees, a marketed drug in Europe for Fabry disease. We have an exciting program in the clinic, a novel, potentially next-generation medicine for Pompe disease, the disease our kids suffer from. So we've got a research and development engine. Even when we started the company, coming up with the name Amicus, the Latin for friend, we wanted to be the most patient-centric, patient-friendly, science-driven company in the industry.
Very powerful, John. And from where you come from in terms of your own personal story, really a powerful, incredible progress that you've actually led here in that regard. What is your take on the FDA process today? I mean, the FDA approval in terms of getting drugs through the process and into market.
I'm seeing an increasingly changed FDA, Maria. I will tell you, I really think we see a bright light at FDA this year. I think The problem hasn't been that there's too many regulations or too few regulations. I think it's been trying to make sure that regulatory science moves as fast as medical science. We really are at the edge of a golden age of medicine, and that's part of what we're trying to do at Amicus, is to drive medicine as far and as fast as we can. I'm really pleased with the FDA leadership, and when I say, we are pleased, it's as an innovator and entrepreneur, but also speaking on behalf of the patient community.
Yeah.
Very excited with Dr. Gottlieb's leadership, Dr. Woodcock's leadership, and I do think now the regulatory environment is changing in a very science-focused, patient-centric way, and I think that's a great thing.
Real quick, your stock is down this morning on this failure in terms of this late-stage trial. You want to say anything to shareholders in that regard?
Yeah, our goal is the same as it's always been, to build a global biotechnology company focused on devastating rare disorders. We have great science, a great portfolio, a very strong balance sheet. This has been a tremendous year for Amicus. We have more milestones ahead of us. We have, in the next couple of weeks, complete data in our phase 2 study in Pompe. By the end of the year, for a Fabry drug that's approved in Europe, we'll be filing for approval here in the United States. We just have filed for approval in Japan. So I do think the brightest days for Amicus certainly lie ahead.
John, great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
John Crowley is CEO of Amicus Therapeutics.